is your committee looking at the process that will actually bring the implementation? I know the last conversation I had with you, you did say that by next year we should expect to see those reforms having gone through those processes. But is your committee actually dealing with those gaps that stop the real implementation of these beautiful ideas?
Yeah, thank you very much. So the good thing is everybody on this panel, we are on the same team. So it is not all versus them.
So you feel safe?
Yeah, I feel very safe. I feel very safe. And those points are very valid. One of the things we have realized is we're actually all very patient, including myself, and I wish some of our recommendations have been implemented like yesterday. So essentially, when you're talking about the ease of doing business, it's one of the 3 pillars of the work of my committee, along with so many Nigerians who are members of that committee, putting in everything they can, without asking for anything in return because they love their country. And that gives us hope. We have seen some of the processes within government are very slow. The bureaucracy can be better. So one of the positives is that by going through this process of trying to do a holistic fiscal reform, we've also identified those areas where we can make things easier, and such that next time when there's an approval by the government, almost immediately you can feel the impact. I do have some good news. The good news is that the withholding tax regulation has now been gazetted. So tomorrow...
I think we should give her a
So the only reason why it hasn't been published today is because it's a public holiday. So first thing tomorrow, you will see a copy of the Gazette. And that provides a lot of relief, not just for manufacturers, but also for almost every other business in terms of taking away some of the burden about funding their working capital, given that interest rates are now quite really high. And also for small businesses, getting the exemption from the compliance for withholding tax. I would also tell you, and many people know this already, the Economic Stabilization Bill is also something we worked on for many months. On Monday, it was approved by the Federal Executive Council. That's also good news. We expect in the next couple of days it will go to the National Assembly, and then it will begin the journey. And we have the commitment from the lawmakers that they would apply the speed that is necessary. The other point that my brother raised around our recommendation that the Customs Service should use a fixed exchange rate that is much lower than the actual rate hasn't been implemented. And it's a number of factors, the biggest one being that the Nigerian Customs Service law was repealed and reenacted in 2023, which is last year. And in that law, it says that the exchange rate to use for custom must be the official exchange rate. So which means even though we drafted an executive order, the president cannot just sign to override the law. So we then have to go through the process of trying to change the language in the law so that when this becomes necessary, maybe later in the future, it will not be as complicated as it is now. But I think there's a general understanding within government that these interventions are extremely important. In the Economic Stabilization Bill, we are focusing on 3 major areas, which is inflation, how do you bring it down? And we have significant measures in the bills you're going to see in the next couple of days at the National Assembly in that regard. We have measures around exchange rates to strengthen the Naira and then to also give stability to the currency, and then employment, to be able to generate employment, particularly for our youth, and also to remove the bottleneck around how businesses can grow and therefore create more employment. So there are lots of things that are moving now. We're beginning to see more progress. I'll say let's keep the hope alive.